I know. I know. She's found it offensive.
It is ESPN Cricket for Match Day at Stumps on day 4. We're going to day 5 for the first time in this series, and it's going to be a happy Australian side that'll walk out on day 5. They need just 8 wickets. Let's assume that could even be 7 if Ravindra Jadeja is deemed unable to bat, and a few lower order wickets included in that. Ideally, you'd think that they need the wickets of Pujara and Rahane, and they'd be all over India and with a chance to take a 2-1 lead in this series. It would have been a happier Stumps show for India if both openers, or at least one of those two, would have managed to stay on with Pujara. Tom Moody's here. So to Akash Chopra. Tom, it's the script in Sydney is going nearly the perfect way for Australia.
Certainly has. And from the toss of the coin, I think there was an advantage there for Australia winning the toss. Yes, they didn't maximise the advantage of batting first on a very good batting surface, which was for the first couple of days. But they've bowled and fielded exceptionally well, and that's been really the difference in making sure that they've had very much the upper hand in this Test match up to date.
Yeah, I mean, the day 4's gone exactly as Australia would have liked. Akash, they got quick runs in the middle session. They've given themselves 4 sessions to get 10 or 9 Indian wickets. And let's talk about the 2 that did fall towards the end of play. I think the first conversation is going to be about Rohit Sharma. Got his first 50 outside of India as a Test opener, and then fell in the fashion that he did. What was your immediate reaction when you saw Rohit Sharma's wicket?
Well, it's a sword that cuts 2 ways, or both ways, because he's an impulsive puller of the cricket ball. He sees a short ball and he just goes for the attacking option and not the defensive option. You will rarely see Rohit Sharma ducking or riding the bounce or actually swaying away from the line of the bouncer. He takes them on, and if you keep taking them on, when they come off, it looks fantastic. So it's a lot of delight. But once in a while, when he gets caught in the deep, especially when the team is down, you're chasing a mountain, then it leaves you with a lot of frustration. A very good start, a well done, a well made 50 has now been thrown away. And he'll be regretting it, because everything was now falling in place quite nicely. He hasn't played the sport for a long time, and now he's got runs in the first innings. He's got a 50 in the second innings. He could have kicked on to get a big one and keep India in the hunt, but lost his wicket to, in the end, a bad shot.
It's funny how this game goes, Tom. We spent a large part of yesterday's Stump show talking about intent, approach, pick your word of Pujara, and all of a sudden today we would have dearly hoped that everyone would have just batted time or blocked it and just held back any temptation to play the shots. What was your reaction on Rohit's wicket?
Yeah, look, to me, it was there to hit, but the difference for me was the way he played the shot. And instead of getting on top of the bounce and playing it with control, he came underneath the ball and tried to launch it for 6, as you would do more so in a short form game, whether it be 50 overs or 20 overs. So that to me was really the issue. I didn't have a problem with the intent of the shot. The ball was there to hit. He plays that shot exceptionally well, but it was the execution was poor. He just didn't get on top of the bounce. He got underneath it and tried to lift it for 6 and didn't quite catch it. And therefore, Mitchell Starc was waiting.
Half century.
Tom, just adding one thing that you would rarely see Rohit trying to ride that bounce and actually play it along the ground. Every time he plays a pull or a hook shot, it's in the air and he's targeting that fence, like the stands, and he lands a few balls there as well. But I think this is what Rohit does. The moment he takes on the short ball, he does not play it along the ground.
All right. That's just what Rohit does. Could he have been asked to do it differently? Or is that not the thing you can... That's just such an instinctive shot. When you know you need to just bat time, you could be a better shot. Can you play a different way? Akash?
Oh, well, you'll have to figure out a way, of course, because see, there's one thing in Test match cricket that you can't continuously just keep hitting it in the air and live to tell the tale, because this is Test cricket, and if there is a barrage of bouncer, there is a leg side trap or a bouncer trap set, you will have to have another variation of that attack. Either you become a slightly defensive player and just ride the bounce and take a single and really pick your balls that you want to hit on the or in the air. Otherwise, you will have to figure out another way, because you can't just keep hitting. That's for sure. You can't keep hitting 6s on these bigger outfields. Maybe it will work in India, but when you're playing at Melbourne MCG or SCG, even at Gaba, you can't really clear the fence every single time.
All right. Now it is half-century stands in both innings for India's openers. Not something that's happened in a long time in Australia. So let's get thoughts from both of you. Akash, of course, who's been in that position, and Tom as well. The new opening pair of Shubman Gill and Rohit Sharma. They may not have batted as long as India would have wanted in the situation of the match, but is this looking like a pair that you'd want to continue with for the immediate future? Tom?
In my opinion, no, and I'll tell you why. I'm impressed with, obviously, Shubman Gill and the way he played. But in my view, Shubman Gill belongs in the middle order from the long-term point of view for Indian cricket. So I'd be very tempted to bring Agarwal back into the side at the top of the order. I think he is a born opener. He's had a sensational start to his career, and he looks like he's only going to get better and better with the more opportunities he plays. Shubman Gill, to me, looks a ready-made middle order player. You know, he plays the ball with time. He's got the game on the front foot and the back foot. And I just think his mode of dismissal is just signalling a couple of red flags for me, not just today's dismissal, but just in the a previous test match where he's been caught behind with the ball that's, with his bat well in front of his pad, just reaching out in front. To me, from an opening batsman's point of view, you need to be a little bit more watertight than that. But to me, that is a stroke play and a style that you want to encourage for a middle order player when the ball is a little bit softer and they can play with a little bit more freedom.
Akash?
No, I agree with him. However, tempting Rohit, Shubman Gill is an option as an opener because he's, of course, impressed one and sundry. All of us are very impressed with the skills that he's displayed in the 2 test matches so far. But again, playing besides the ball, there are obvious weaknesses, the red flags that Tom mentioned. And when you look at Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill, just put them together, you feel that they're very similar to each other in more ways than one. Both are stroke players, both stay besides the ball. Both actually, so Rohit in Test match cricket was always a middle order batsman. He's just been promoted, hasn't really opened in the long format outside Asia. So you know that those are early days any which way. But then Mayank Agarwal, for what he's done, you've got to have one, say, proper opener. Rohit Sharma is also a makeshift opener, but then since he's done so much of white ball opening, and this is where he's writing a new chapter in his test career, you have him on one side who will keep the scoreboard going. Once in a while, he'll also nick a few outside off because this is how he is. But then having both of the same kind, I would prefer the Mayank Agarwal, Rohit Sharma combined better than Shubman Gill. Put him at 4, put him at 5. You'll get a long-term future of Shubman Gill. I think that's where he'll end in any which way. We've discussed this in the past as well. That is where he belongs.
Well, I mean, there are two decisions to make. One, the immediate one for the Brisbane Test or the 4th Test. The other, what happens in for future in Indian cricket when Virat Kohli comes back, and there's a home series lined up now, so the balance of the team tends to change. So we'll see how that goes. But Rohit Sharma's first Test as opener in this new role overseas, Akash, coming off the back of everything that he's had in the injuries and quarantine and whatnot. Have you been happy and impressed with Rohit Sharma, the opener, in this Test match?
Yes, because it's not easy. We discussed this in the preview show as well, that between Warner and Rohit might actually find it tougher because he's just been far too away from the game, and he was injured, nursing an injury, then a hard quarantine where he can't even practice. So when you put all of those things in perspective, and India loses where India is without Virat Kohli, you know that it is tough for Rohit. So what you've seen so far, he's made some adjustments for sure. He's willing to have that forward stride a little longer. He's also willing to actually allow the ball to come to him with not throwing his bat at everything or not playing with his hand as much as he likes to do in white ball cricket. This pitch hasn't challenged him enough. So Brisbane will be another test, but then you'll have to judge him on the basis of what you've seen, what's been thrown at him on a surface that was batting friendly. Rohit Sharma, in my opinion, has done fairly well.
Yeah, it's a funny little conversation we're having, Tom, on Shubman looking good as a middle order player batting at the top. Rohit Sharma started off, of course, you know it, as a middle order player and elevated himself to the top in white ball cricket, and now seems to be the option for red ball cricket as well. Is he looking the part for all conditions as a Test opener?
Yeah, look, we all know that he's a class player, and I think that these two players are at the polar opposite ends of their careers. Rohit Sharma's been around a long, long time, played a lot of international cricket, more obviously white ball international cricket than red ball, but still been around a long time. To me, the opportunity that he got at the top of the order was nearly like the last hurrah for him as a Test cricketer. He grabbed it with both hands. Yes, he had the majority of those matches on home soil, but he still delivered. He delivered, and he delivered in great style. I think he averages over 80 in Test cricket at home. And that's all you can do once you're given the opportunity is to show that consistency and deliver. Away from home, we've only had a very small sample size to really work out whether he's up for it. But to me, the Indian Test side is a better looking Test side with Rohit Sharma in it than within not in it. So I would be persevering with him on many levels, because purely as him as the batsman, but I think him as the person and character and leader that he is amongst that group is very important to be around the likes of Shubman Gill and Prithvi Shaw and Vihari and Pant and everyone else, because it's a relatively young group of young men that are finding their way in international cricket.
Yeah, it's a series for new players, isn't it? Shubman Gill's there. We've seen Siraj. We've also seen Cameron Green now, who was pitted up to be this really big deal in Australian cricket going forward. And from what we've seen of Cameron Green on his maiden half century, Tom, obviously he was given the license to go at it, but some of that shot making would make a few IPL franchises quite interested as well.
Yeah, look, even just before that innings, I think he may have, sparked a bit of interest, because I think, before, his exposure on the international stage, the franchises in IPL cricket would have got all the vision of his domestic cricket and how he's gone about his business. Look, he is a talent. There's no question about that. The way he hasn't had the impact yet with the ball, but we can see the ingredients is there. From a batting perspective, he's got the technique, hasn't he? For a big guy, he's 200 centimetres. He's got a good, solid technique. Plays well off the front and the back foot. And when he wants to press the button and launch the ball into the stands, he does it with great ease, as you'd expect with those long levers. So, yeah, look, great for him early in his career to just get that innings under his belt, to give him that confidence, to feel like he belongs. And that is the greatest challenge for any young player, is to have an impact with bat or ball early in your international career, just so you settle and you feel like you belong at that level, and you can then flourish from there.
It's the sort of batsman that you wouldn't mind in your team at number 6, Akash. Seems to have the technique to play tougher conditions and can play that sort of innings when you want quick runs.
Yes, number 6, great, but I think he's earning the right to bat at 5, because Matthew Wade is not really setting the world on fire. Of course, he's been shunted up and down the order, but today was the kind of day, the kind of platform that you need to express yourself, because this is a slightly hamstrung Indian bowling attack. They're fairly ahead in the game. Australia was really ahead in the game. Also, now you need to just press the advantage. Easier said than done, but the stage was as best as you could actually imagine for a number 6 youngster to walk in and just display his wares. We've all been praising him quite highly, and for the right reasons as well. He's got the ingredients, the kind of bowler that he is. He could actually be your 3rd fast bowler, not the 4th, in a few years' time. And when you talk about his batting, he's not really a number 6. He's batting at number 6. He's got that game where he can actually bat with the tail and press the accelerator, etc. But he's in your top 5. He's that kind of a batsman. So he is a complete package. And you're right. Come the auctions, February will be a busy time. Cameron Green could actually be the next millionaire.
Yeah, why not? Muri's probably already got his notes down, but I won't tease him anymore. On
do they have the $1 million in the kitty? Are they releasing someone? Mitchell Marsh, maybe? I don't know.
I can tell you something. I don't.
Well, actually, the overall purse is constrained now that they've appointed a new director at a very high salary. So let's leave on that now.
Let's see whether they have the money left.
Let's behave, Akash. Come on, let's not trouble Tom. Let's talk about this game. And a day after we've gone in detail about India's approach and batting intent in the first innings, it's perhaps that same thing that we'd like to see now in the second. Cheteshwar Pujara simply batting time. Akash?
Oh, he has to, and that's what he does. See, problem is not with Pujara. Problem is with everybody else, and we are just blaming one guy for doing what he's very good at. And then when he tries doing something else, then we'll blame him even further that that's not your game. Why are you running a couple when you know that you can't make it? So just for the sake of showing intent, you're playing a different brand of cricket, knowing fully well that you perhaps can't win this test match. Of course, an outside chance is that you can, but let's be realistic. considering the pitch, your own personnel left in the bank, there is no Ravindra Jadeja, you can't possibly win this game. The best result outcome would be to walk away with a draw, and that can only happen if Pujara bats all 3 sessions. Who else has got that kind of patience and determination where you can wear an opposition down of this quality over an extended period of time? He will require some luck as well. All of us would, or anybody would on this kind of surface. But Pujara, let Pujara be. Others need to do what they do best. And if they are trying to imitate Pujara, then be that good. Play 170, 80 balls. Because if 3 of them can actually play like Pujara, India will be home. There's no problem. 90 overs to play, you can manage. But everybody can't be Pujara. Be yourself and be the best at what you can do. So Rohit will play. Rohit does. If he tries to be Pujara, he can't. Similarly, if Pujara tries to be Rohit, he can't. So that's the way it is. Let Pujara be and hope for Pujara to actually survive for really long, play really long tomorrow.
Yeah, we established on yesterday's show, crediting Australia's bowlers for how they bowled and mentioning that it wasn't Pujara who should be looked at as the culprit of the first innings by any means. And as we look to day 5 now, Tom, you almost have a premium attached to that sort of ability to bat time, which not a lot of batsmen in modern day Test cricket can do. It's pretty much Pujara and whoever can bat with him tomorrow for India.
Yeah, look, he's obviously going to be pivotal to India's hopes to saving this Test match. There's no doubt about that. But even Pujara this evening looked very vulnerable at the crease. You know, it was in a way a little bit unlike him. Normally he starts and he's got total control of what he's doing, even though the scoreboard might not be moving too fast, but he's got control of his stroke play. To me, there was, there's a few openings where Australia would have felt encouraged that they had a chance of getting Pujara's wicket. I think that there's a few potential demons in this surface as well, which is also going to challenge even the most solid techniques like Pujara with the ball keeping low or one just bouncing a little bit. And I'm sure Nathan Lyon is going to have his say come the last day. He's surely not going to be bowling 25 overs, 30 overs in the day without a solid return in the wicket column.
Yeah, that's the other thing. We saw that from Nathan Lyon this afternoon as well, Akash. And as good as Australia's seamers have been, Nathan Lyon, perhaps the biggest challenge on day 5 as India look to try and save this?
One of the biggest threats for sure, because with Nathan Lyon, you've got 3 quality fast bowlers. The ball is going to start reverse swinging at sub stage, and that's when Mitchell Starc will come to his zone. Pat Cummins has been absolutely top drawer. He's been actually the head and shoulders above the rest, even when we talk about Josh Hazelwood's dream spell in Adelaide. But it is Pat Cummins as within that fast bowling group for Australia, who's been exceptional throughout. Every single spell that he's bowled, he's been spot on. Every time he bowled, he looked like picking wickets. So Lyon is going to play, of course, a Lion's role in that spell, or rather in that shape. But then he's not the only threat to negotiate. There is equally efficient bowling unit with the ability of taking wickets, and with the ball staying up and down every now and then. It's not going to be easy.
All right. Australia to nip this easy then, Tom, tomorrow? One session, maybe 2? Or are we in for a few surprises that we've already seen in this series?
Are you fishing?
Are you biting?
No, look, I don't consider any Test win an easy win, particularly against these 2 teams. They do fight it out very, very hard. But put it this way, Australia are very much in control of this Test match. And if India manage to bat into the 3rd session, they've done an unbelievable job. And if they manage to bat through that 3rd session, wow, they deserve not a draw, they deserve a win.
Right, like we've seen things that have never happened before happen in this series. But yes, it is Australia's Test match. Let's see how things go on day 5. We'll get Akash Chopra's thoughts as well as Mike Hussey's, and we'll continue getting Tom Moody's thoughts as we approach that 4th Test match, which looks like is going to be in Brisbane now. Thank you very much, Tom Moody. Thank you, Akash. Viewers in India, don't forget you can catch clips and highlights on ESPNcricinfo.com as well as the mobile app, even viewers in the subcontinent. So make sure you tune in if you missed any of the action. We'll be back tomorrow on ESPN Cricinfo Match Day, and what is going to be the first Test that goes to day 5 in this series.